Hey everybody, it's Jimmy T or Jim Turk from BeatMyDisease.com. I hope you're getting something out of this video series. Uh, it's really, the idea behind it is that it really kind of builds on itself. So, for example, the R today is for rest and relaxation. And if you get more rest and you're more relaxed and more stress-free, you're going to have more confidence and you're going to have more energy and you're going to be more likely to have you're going to have stronger willpower and you're going to be more likely to do the training exercises we were talking about, both brain and body, and nutrition stuff, and have a more positive outlook just because you have more energy and better willpower, as I said. So this really kind of snowballs, right? It really just kind of builds on itself. So that's the whole idea here. Little bits, baby steps. We talk about this being a marathon and not a sprint, and that's really the idea here. Is it's not a magic pill. There's no such thing. So you're going to be able to do this, and you're going to be able to feel better pretty quickly, but you're going to be able to feel much better over time. And so, if I feel 10% better, or 5% better even, that's an amazing thing for me, because I mean where I'm at. But if you can get that up to 20% or 50%, I mean it's a dream. It's pretty incredible. So I just want to be able to help you, share with you what I've learned. Hopefully you can share with me, because this is a team effort, what you've learned, and we can all kind of build on that. So anyway, the R in rest, control is for rest and relaxation, as I said. If you look at the research side of things, the CDC says that, I think they say 50 to 70 million Americans, that's just in America, that's not worldwide, don't get the proper amount of sleep. And so that stands to reason, right? That's not a huge surprise, because we're much busier, we're burning the candle at both ends, we're going out at night, entertaining ourselves, working during the day. We've got a lot of stuff on our mind. We have to earn more money because the economy's bad, all that kind of stuff. Who knows? But whatever the reason is, we've got a lot more stuff. 50 to 70 million of us at least aren't getting enough sleep, or the right kind of sleep. And so what I want to really share with you is, A, that it's important that you do that, and B, that give you some hints as to how to do that. And so really it comes down to, as I said before, willpower and scheduling. You want to write this stuff down, and with all the components of the control method, you want to write stuff down. There's something magical that happens when you commit to it in writing. You can tell yourself mentally that you're going to do something. It's not the same. Weird as that sounds, it's just not the same. It doesn't carry the same weight. If you write it down, you can look at that every day. You can see that in writing, that you've made that commitment, and it's different than just telling yourself in your head and you can ignore it and who would know, right? I mean, that's the whole idea. So write it down, schedule it in a calendar. That's what I've been known to do. And I think it makes a huge difference, because then it pops up on your calendar and you can't help but do something with it, right? You know it's there. You know if you're ignoring it. You can't lie to yourself. You can't be in denial about that. So it's important, to schedule all these things in the control method. With sleep, talk about, going to bed in time. And that might mean making certain sacrifices. That might mean, making sure that you're home in time and you can't see that midnight movie that you wanted to see, or you might have to leave at a certain time for having beers with friends, or just from a party, who knows. But again, it's a priority, and that's the thing, is the older we get and the more easy it is to connect with people, that has a lot of positive sides. But the negative side is it's also, you know about everything, and so you want to be involved in everything, and so it makes it less likely that you're taking care of yourself, and you're more stressed as a result. So just make sure that you're going to bed at a certain time. The average is something like 8 hours. That's kind of what they've always said, 8 hours. But again, it's an average, and it's a lot different for different people. It's more for me. You'll just know what makes you feel better, what your body needs. depending on if it's just achieving balance in your life or if you have a certain disease and certain symptoms that you're trying to counteract. You know what you have to get, and so you just have to make that a higher priority. Also, don't turn the screens off. So don't go to bed watching TV or working on the computer or something like that, because that totally detracts from the whole point. The whole point is you want to get to bed, you want to train yourself to go to sleep when you get to bed. And what I do, for example, because I had a tough time and my mind is always racing, and that's the problem that a lot of people have. I have gotten to the point where I wear an iPod to bed every night and just put it on sleep timer. And it's faster and faster, it seems like, over the years. And what I always do is I just put on an audiobook, and because I'm kind of a deep thinker, I suppose, not in a good way, but it's hard for me to listen to something new and not want to take it all in and ask myself questions about it, and it becomes more of a mess, harder to get to sleep if I'm listening to an audiobook, for example. Well, what I've done now is I always listen to the same audiobook, and so I get nothing out of it at this point. I have the thing memorized, I'm sure. I have no questions about it. I'm like Pavlov's dog, so I put that thing on, and within minutes I fall asleep. It's just because it's on, my body is signaled, it knows it's just going to go to sleep. That's just what it's trained to do, and that's kind of what you want to do. At some point you want to just train your body to get to that point, and it makes a huge difference. That conditioned response makes a huge difference, so you definitely want to get there. So again, just make sleep a much higher priority. Make sure that you have a bedtime routine. Make sure it's cool. If that helps you sleep better, it makes most people sleep better. The cool air, whatever the case is, make sure that you're doing that so you can get better sleep and more efficient sleep, better sleep. So not only more, but better sleep as well, deep sleep. Then the other part of the R is the relaxation. So with relaxation, we hear a lot about, and I actually advocate for, meditation. And meditation is kind of one of those goofy things, we think about it as kind of a hippie sort of holistic thing that is kind of trendy or whatever. And it's really not. It's been going on obviously for thousands of years. I work on a campus that, there's people that are paid, they're getting funding from the NIH or from national agencies to study meditation, because there's so much proof out there that it makes a huge difference in your life. People that meditate are less stressed out. They have lower cortisol levels, cortisol is a stress hormone, so obviously if you're less stressed, you would have lower cortisol levels, but you have lower cholesterol. That was the word I was going for. Lower cholesterol is associated with less stress, so less heart disease as a result, a lot of other diseases as well. And so the nice thing about meditation is it trains you to kind of be resilient. And if you're more into praying and not so much into meditation, and I know some people like that as well, that's fine. It kind of works the same. The whole idea is just about being still and thankful and focusing your attention on that one thing and not telling your story. Mindfulness is a great way to start meditating if you're not adept to any certain kind of meditation. Sometimes just listening to something, like it could be a fan even, and listening to that fan while you're trying to meditate, and it's that stillness, and it's I think a lot of people give up because they can't wipe the slate clean, right? They can't wipe everything out of their mind. But the reality is you're not doing that every day, every time. You shouldn't be able to do that right off the bat. It's every day you make these little steps, you take these little steps, you make this little bit of progress, and it ends up making a huge difference. I always talk about like watching a puppy grow or something like that. It's kind of in that realm. You get a little bit better with practice, or like anything you practice, you get a little bit better every day. You don't necessarily see that improvement every day, but you look at it 6 months or a year from now, and you'll see a big improvement. And that's kind of what we're talking about, what it's all about. So, a great way to think about meditation, I was talking about mindfulness, you listen to a fan and you're hearing that fan hum and you're not listening to anything else. That's the focus of your energy. You're not telling a story about it. You're not trying to figure out what that sound is. You're just listening to that sound, the actual just sound that you're hearing, and just thinking about only that sound. Again, not telling a story about it. The way I started was by counting breaths, and so a lot of times you can, you sit down to meditate, and you might count your breaths in, out, and I'm not speeding up or slowing down my breath. I'm just counting in 1, out 1, and I do that up to 10, and I start over. It can be any number. I just keep starting it over because then you sort of lose track of where you're at, and I'm not thinking about, well, I have to make it to 50 this time, or what time is it now, that kind of thing. I'm just counting breaths, and I'm thinking hard about only that number, and it really enables me to clear my mind of everything else. I can be really pretty still. So the mindfulness, the counting. One last hint I'll give you is, you can think about just isolating a part of your body and thinking only about that. So in my case, I always think about my legs. How do my legs feel? And I can pretty quickly at this point think about how my legs are feeling at that moment, and just kind of put my mind there and only think about how my legs feel at that very moment. And I don't detract from that. I just stay on that. And that makes a huge, huge difference in terms of relaxation. I can, I always schedule at least 10 minutes, usually 15 minutes for me in the morning. And I think the morning is a great way to start your day, because you start with that stillness, but you also, there's a lot of research to say that meditation improves your resilience, for example, physical and mental. And so any stressors that you might encounter during the day are going to be made a little bit better through meditation, and that's the whole idea. So I start that out 10 or 15 minutes during the day, but then if in the middle of the day I get stressed, or I'm working too hard, or whatever, I just feel like I need to calm myself down, I can sit down and I can do that same thing, and usually think about my legs. I was talking about isolating my legs. I can think about that, and within minutes I can get myself into a real relaxed state. And again, that takes a while. Don't plan on clearing your mind, and don't give up because you can't clear your mind. I mean, that's not really what it's about. It's just about getting a little bit better each day. Use those hints I was talking about. Use I have demonstration videos, meditation videos, things like that you can use as well. So just try to do as much of that, schedule that every single day, and that will really improve your resilience, really improve your state of mind, which in turn increases confidence, improves your health, and in my case, it reduces symptoms very significantly. And so I would really encourage you to do the same thing. So again, rest and relaxation. Make sure you're getting enough sleep, and then make sure that you're taking that time out of your day to relax. It just has to be a higher priority. We have a lot of options today, many more than we did 20 years ago, or 50 years ago, or 10 years ago even. And so now it's just more important that you set those priorities and make that a priority so it's better. Anyway, I promise you it's going to make your life better if you stick with it, and all these things are going to, as I said, snowball, cascade, build on each other. So with that, I'll leave you go. If you have any questions for me, or any questions, period, just leave them in the comments below so everybody can see them and everybody can benefit from it. If you have suggestions that you think that everybody else or some other people might benefit from, or I might benefit from, I mean, this is something we're in together. It's a team effort. I don't have all the answers. I like to think that I've studied a lot and I know them pretty well, but there's a lot to learn from my perspective. So I'd appreciate learning what works for you as well. If you have questions or comments like that, leave them below. If you don't want your name out there in the internet world, and you want to just ask me a question personally or offer me a suggestion personally, certainly send an email. I'm happy to entertain those as well, and I'll respond to as many as I can. So again, thanks a lot. Jimmy T signing off from BeatMyDisease.com.